let's go into subject, because now you know I'm talking about something I know a thing or two. So let me share it with you. Why Canada? And not many people are aware that ranking by passport index, the Canadian passport is one of the most powerful passports you can acquire throughout the world. People always looking at this, and the index actually indicates that Canada falls into third passport power ranking. Not the highest, but number 3, where we share the ranking with countries like Belgium, Austria, Japan, Greece, Portugal, Switzerland, United Kingdom, and United Arab Emirates. Obviously, above us, Denmark, Sweden, Finland, all Scandinavian countries, Luxembourg, France, and South Korea, USA, and first ranking belongs to Singapore and Germany. Obviously, you know how it is defined. The more countries you can visit without actual visa process, visa-free, people call it travel visa-free, the more powerful your passport becomes. But obviously, you know, ETA and ESTA and different types of e-visa, e-travel authorizations coming back to the plate. So if you need one word of encouragement for those who start in practice, we never go out of business. Trust me, with this situation around the world, we will be required all the time. If you do your things right, you will be in demand. Okay, why ranking is significant? And now we're talking about Canada, not because I live in Canada, I'm a patriot of Canada, but because I choose Canada above other countries as the best country myself. And I obviously first advocate for Canada in terms of investment immigration. Well, because let's say if we're talking about US and Ireland, Canada is the only other country in this passport index rank that offers actual investment immigration program. I mean, clear cut is right here. Ireland represents very weak economic environment. Doesn't matter what people say. It's an island. It's a small island. Obviously, access to Europe means a lot, but to handle the climate and the whole economic environment and downturn was very, very severe after the crisis of 2008. Ireland was the biggest victim on the block and still recovering. So lifestyle is not suitable for many. Let me put it this way. Our southern partner and neighbor, United States, provides pretty much, you know, that you here in Canada, and most of you, and obviously you know that similar cultural environment exists south of the border. Sometimes it's better variety, of course, lifestyle options. You can go to Florida, you can go to Alaska, you can stick in Seattle, and you can choose somewhere, let's say, in the East Coast, New England, but what's important for people with high net worth, they all, and we'll talk about it in more details later on, but intrusiveness of authorities is not comfortable. Let me put it this way. The whole sentiment of people who select jurisdiction, and when you're talking to them, you have to think about it, what they want, not what you want. Because what you want, you want them to be your clients, but in order to be your client, you have to make them understand that you care about them and you understand their point of view. So it's not comfortable. Let me put it this way. And obviously, current social, I put it this way, social, political, economical reality, leaving many people unwelcomed. And we're talking about people from Middle East, from China, from other parts of the world where color of skin or race or religion plays certain role, and people handle it very tolerable way until they come into the United States and they see the difference in relationship, and that's bothering them. And that's why Canada is much better, because we have true diversity in Canada, and obviously it's safer in many aspects of their life. Switzerland, Malta, and UK obviously on a list, but it's more expensive, and it has very complicated combination of property ownership and investment terms. Definitely they're more expensive, and that's kind of what keeps many people on alert, because they can spend money, they have money. They just don't want to spend money if they can spend less. So that's something you have to consider. Well, this is very interesting. U.S. News just released pretty much this month, countries with the best quality of life list. And guess what? We are first on the block. Among 20 countries, we are first. We had Switzerland. We had countries like Australia and New Zealand, where you can find some picturesque landscapes, but it's not enough. People want to see variety of that. And definitely Singapore with this pristine cleanness, it's number 18. So it's all about combination of factors. And the next list actually is very interesting. UK Travel Magazine, which is obviously kind of fancy, sorry, I used the wrong word, fancy travel magazine. Obviously, Brits, they very picky on selecting countries, and they call the list of most beautiful countries. Well, I'm not surprised to see Scotland because this is UA Travel Magazine. I was there. I love Scotland. I like the landscape, but to compare it to variety of Canada, what the Canada can offer, that's kind of puzzle to me. Obviously, to see Scotland ahead of Italy or exotic countries like South Africa. I just got back from South Africa last year. Amazing country. Switzerland or Norway or Croatia, even Vietnam. But you know, they have their experts they select. But guess what? Canada is number 2 on the list. Okay, let's focus on alternatives because I promised organizers to spend some time and give a picture of the big scale perspective. First class club. Why I call it first class? Because first class, actually, it's a first class. If you present your passport, nobody arguing that's a good passport. Okay, nobody suspect that you got it by shady deal somewhere on the island, and your passport can be canceled at some point. You have it. So that's a first class. And I attribute Canada to the first class. That's out of question. That's a good place to be. Upcoming countries to the club, obviously, we see increasing interest of high net worth individuals in countries like Portugal, Cyprus, newcomers on the block, Bulgaria and Hungary. And if you not familiar, Bulgaria and Hungary, countries from formerly Soviet bloc, they became European members long ago, one of the first ones to break far away from the bloc, from mentality and of the socialist era, and now they very desirable parts of this club. What I call second class, and forgive me if somebody from that country or somehow related to those, let's say, Caribbean countries, but this is second class compared to first class, not because I consider them second class. Dominica, Grenada, Antigua, St. Kitts and Nevis, and obviously we have to be very, very cautious when people saying, okay, how you compare Canada and St. Kitts and Nevis? Well, you can, because you have to compare apple to apple and apple to not apple to oranges. Because to me, when somebody has a passport, take St. Kitts and Nevis, for example. 2 years ago, Canada, US first, and then Canada canceled visa-free entry for St. Kitts and Nevis. So technically, passport was good for hiding on the island for some time, but traveling around the world, get access to first class countries was immediately restricted. So that's harsh, and that's why when people argue, you just have to be absolutely firm and strong on opinion. Like, okay, what exactly do you want? Do you want to just have like, you know, like second parachute to land somewhere? Then that's okay, we can do it. And if you mention, if you had a time to spend on our website, you see we provide those options, but not very popular these days, especially after recent scandals with Panama. And but speaking of Panama, citizenship for retirees is a separate issue, what we found. And Canada stands alone because Canadian residency for retirees, for rich retirees, is one of the best known in the world, despite everything people say, because obviously some jurisdictions are better, but you have to go through certain loopholes to get that. Obviously USA, Florida, California, Arizona attracting a lot, and we have, for example, EB5 program there, but this is not the subject of today's conversation. Panama has a special pensionado program, which is great. I am not considering, even though I will turn 55 soon, but Panama is something I work with for a long time now. I just want to see what if I am pensionado and how that will work, but it's kind of fun. I will share my experience with you guys.